In this lesson, we are going to review how to find area of different figures. This is all something you will have seen somewhere in your past, whether you remember it or not, who knows, but you are going to need to know these for this outcome. So today we're just going to review. If we want to find the area of a rectangle, the area of a rectangle is equal to the length times the width. So in this particular one, we have area equals L times W is how we usually write it. The length is 6.8 and the width is 4.5. Now technically it doesn't matter whether you put 4.5 in first or the 6.8, because when you multiply them, order is not important. So now it's 6.8 times 4.5, we get 30.6. The units were centimeters, and when we're talking about area, we talk about it in square units. So that is how you would write it. And that's how you find the area of a rectangle. The area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height. Now it is important when you are pulling out the height that the height is the value at a 90-degree angle to the base. So notice the base and the height form a 90-degree angle, and that is important when you are doing this. Another way, if you do not like working with fractions, instead of using 1/2, we could simply say it's 0.5 times the base times the height. So in this particular example, we have area equals 0.5 times the base is 12.8, the height is 7.8. You simply multiply those three numbers together, and we get 49.92. The units were centimeters, and area is squared. This is a parallelogram. Notice that it has two sets of opposite sides that are parallel to each other. That's what these arrows mean. They indicate that the lines are parallel, which means they will never intersect each other. Area of a parallelogram is base times height. Now, it's similar to that of a triangle in the fact that when you are finding the height has to be the measurement to the base at a 90-degree angle. So area is base times height. The area of this parallelogram is 3.1 times 2.1. When we multiply those together, we get 6.51. It was in meters, and it's area, so it's squared. So in a parallelogram, base times height, it's similar to a rectangle, except the height has to be at a 90-degree angle. Area of a circle. Area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. Now it's important to remember, radius is half the distance across a circle. Sometimes if you're given a diameter, you have to divide the diameter by 2 to get the radius. Diameter would be all the way across. Pi is also equal to 3.14, and that's important to note as well. Radius squared means radius times radius. So when we're looking at the area of a circle, it's often written like this, pi r squared. We can consider it as being pi times r, because r squared means r times r. Or you can use an exponent button on your calculator. Pi is always 3.14. The radius in this example is 7, so we'll have 7 times 7. When we multiply all three of these numbers, you will get 153.86 centimeters squared. And that will be the area of this circle. So here's a circle where we are given the diameter. It's all the way across the circle. So the first thing we must do is we must find the radius. And to do that, it's diameter divided by 2. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. That's the radius. So now we can do the formula we just did in the previous example. Area is pi r squared, which is the same as saying pi times r times r. Pi is always 3.14. We just determined our radius is 8. So 3.14 times 8 times 8 is 200.96 centimeters squared. In this particular example here, there are 3 values given for the triangle. We need to determine what we need to be using. So we had a formula for area of a triangle. It's 0.5 times base times height. Remember we talked about the 2 sides you need to use are ones that intersect at 90 degrees. So the height and the base. This is unnecessary information for this particular question. Area is 1/2 times the base times the height. So 0.5 times 12 times 10. When you put those all in your calculator, you end up with 60, and these were in millimeters squared. So we have reviewed some of the basic shapes that you will be needing in this outcome. To make sure that you understand how to use them, please now try the practice.